Last spring, the ASUUC board approved a practice of splitting our offering plate every Sunday. In keeping with our mission, purpose, and calling, we are pleased to be able to partner with organizations whose values dovetail with our own. This month, we are sharing the collection plate with the Accompaniment and Sanctuary Coalition of Colorado Springs. The Accompaniment and Sanctuary Coalition seeks to make the Pikes Peak region a safer place for immigrants by standing with and protecting immigrants facing obstacles in everyday life. This includes housing support, finances, healthcare, well-being, and apprehension deportation prevention. All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church is a designated sanctuary church. Our plate sharing will be directed to this effort. This is sponsored by the immigration team. Instructions for giving will be on the screens and in chat. And thank you in advance for your amazing generosity.
It is so fun to talk to you all every Sunday. I love it. Last year, it was a wonder to explore with you some theological waters. And while that will never cease to be my most favorite well from which to drink, this year I wanted to hone in on practice more than poetics. The practice of church. Now, it's true that practice and theology are intimate with each other, of course. In some ways, you could think of church as theology with a body. We are the body. Now, in the Christian world, they call the church Corpus Christi, the body of Christ. The body of the divine. And while our Christology strays towards the negligible, we can understand the concept of the divine energy given material body. As our shared values articulate, and as we reflected on last week, we are each imbued with inherent worth, each bearing an ember of holiness in our being, even as our being. We can understand the divine given body in the mountains that punctuate our vision, in the trees and shrubs, in the deer that wander our neighborhoods, in bird song, in light particles, in oxygen, in each other. Corpus Christi, body of God, spirit made flesh, poetics given tongues to speak poetry. Articulate articulations of the cosmos are we, incarnations of the divine. Which leads me to surmise that the universe's sense of humor is not in question. Who knows? Maybe the cosmic purpose of humanity is to make jokes. I mean, wouldn't that be something if that was our organizing principle? If our purpose was to be the universe chuckling. So we are walking emanations of the holy flow. It sounds nice, I suppose, but do you feel like an expression of creation? Do you feel like an iteration of holy flow? Do you act like poetics moving through a pen? I mean, I think we yearn for that feeling, but we yearn for it because we do not frequently have it. And I wonder why it's elusive at all. That is a cosmic puzzle, but elusive it seems to be. And so we must intend, or at least make space for, the feeling of our own and others' holiness to appear. Meanwhile, our species has discovered that our effort to experience holiness is amplified, reified, supported, and rewarded when we work together. So here we are, all corpused up, gathered together as one big sponge of God. Here we are in church trying to connect with the feeling that is our birthright, that we and all we see are luminous threads of being. This is the place where we try to meet that yearning with experience, or at least to prepare for and render it. Now, I know some of you just came here looking for a friend, for some company. But you came to church to find it, you weirdo. I mean, that's a choice based on a specific presumption. You came to a place that holds the hope of connection and salvation and at its core, to find friends. So I hope you make a friend. But I also hope you experience your and everyone else's integration with the expansive and particular force of life itself. I hope you experience the poetics while given the means to make poetry. And that too is easier said than done, but we've got each other, and with each other we can amplify, reify, and support our efforts to experience ourselves and each other and all others as divine. Now, wouldn't that be something? That would change the world. But how do we do this? As articulations of the Holy Flow, we can be pretty profane. We can be petty and inattentive, spiteful, self-interested, and frightened. And all of that can also be amplified by company. So how do we cultivate the former and diminish the latter? How do we do church? For make no mistake, church is something you do. Church only masquerades as a noun. The secret handshake, Gnostic nudge wink is that church is a practice, a set of practices. Church is a technique. And I'll refer again to our shared values where it is stated that, quote, we are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. It just so happens that love comes to life in bylaws. It comes to life in policies as much as a hug. Bylaws and policies give us a shape and safety and hopefully reflect our values. Our bylaws and policies are currently, by the way, being reviewed and updated when necessary by a very brave task force of the board. And they're doing good work. Those documents give us shape, give us a corpus, but we are the fuel, the animating agent, the spirit of this body. That's us. We make this body dance and pray. But to what end? rooted in a community of love. The mission of All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church is to cultivate compassion, foster spiritual connection, and enact transformative justice to heal ourselves and the world. Church is something you do. The mission tells us what that is. And when we are doing each of the clauses, when we are cultivating compassion and fostering spiritual connection and enacting transformative justice that heals ourselves and the world, we will have brought this church fully to life. And so as we consider what plans to make, as we create events and policies and write reflections, we can ask, how does this cultivate compassion and or foster spiritual connection? How might we enact transformative justice to heal ourselves and the world? And how might I participate in that enactment? And I'll wager that this is true personally as well as it is corporately. You might ask yourself, what am I doing to cultivate my own compassion? What am I doing to foster my own spiritual connection? How will I enact justice to heal myself and to heal the world? And ideally, this place that we all have made together will present all of us with opportunities to do each of those, or some combination of them, or all of them all at once. And you can investigate those opportunities, which are many, by the way, on our new website. It does a really good job of showing you all the things that are going on at All Souls, and it's going to knock your socks off. Which is to say, you will knock your own socks off, because you are the folks who are doing all the very many things that we have to do at All Souls. So use this mission as a guide for not only our congregation, our Corpus Christi, but also for yourself. Find ways here to connect spiritually or cultivate compassion. Let this congregation, which is to say, let each other be the container. Let our values be the container, the arroyo, the riverbed that channels your effort to heal yourself and the world. What would that look like? Can you imagine? We'll have the opportunity to pursue that imagination right after church today, about 15 minutes after church today, to explore the very question as we will be exploring the vision of this community our mission inspires. So please grab a snack and come back. Show up. Participate. Love as a spiritual discipline, right? It's interesting. The love in which we claim to root is more than a value to promote. It is primarily a feeling. Love is primarily a feeling, an outward flowing experience. As such, it cannot be willed into existence. However, it can be given opportunity and encouragement and scaffolding. It can be cultivated and maybe even practiced as a discipline. Church is a technique. When centered on our shared values, recognition, for instance, that is, recognizing one another, will naturally grow into affinity. Those of you who have seen enough of each other have a natural affinity. It is good to see one another. And affinity over time becomes love. The kind of love that overrides and reforms the minor infractions inevitable in groups of humans. Now, coupled with compassion, connection, and healing, All Souls UU and the people who comprise it can know what it is to be and act as poetics making poetry. We can know what it is to feel like the holy flow given bodies. We can know what it is to be the universe with a sense of humor. As we leave this sacred time and place it you've made together, let us leave here knowing that we are surrounded by all the elements of the fire and the earth, the mountains and the wind, and the water that flows through our city. Let us know that we are comprised of those elements and that we come together to facilitate the flowing of the holy through them all. Let's go in peace and let us go singing.
Oh freedom, oh freedom, oh freedom, freedom is coming.